Big Smitty, without further ado, we got our main man in here, man. And everybody out there, pound the like button, subscribe, become a member. It's a great honor, man. I've been trying to get my main man on here for a while. And Kirk, I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man.
You there?
I appreciate your patience. Sorry it took me a little bit of time.
Oh, no, man. Hey, it's an honor. I appreciate you. We got to clap it up. I don't got McAfee shit yet in the background, but, I got a little clap. I got a little clap. My main man, Darnell, here. He works at Fox, man. Obviously. So he works.
Nice to meet you, Kirk.
Nice to meet you, Darnell. Appreciate it.
He's been with Marcellus and Whitlock on Fox for years back in the day. So he joined us, man, and he's been a great addition, man. So, hey, I appreciate you jumping on here, man. I got to start off the show with, first of all, asking how your baby is, how Zach is, how your son is.
He's hanging in there, man. He has an enlarged left ventricle in his heart, and just kind of came out of nowhere late May. He's 20 years old, never had any symptoms of any kind, and just was coughing really bad, and went to the doctor, and we thought they evaluated him as just having pneumonia, and then he didn't get any better. And then they checked his heart out and found out it was severely enlarged. And so, it's called cardiomyopathy, and it's something that he was born with. So it's hereditary. My family on my side has it. So not getting any better at this point, but he's not getting any worse. They put a defibrillator in on his left side just a few weeks ago, just to make sure he's going to be all right. But it's been pretty challenging dealing with that for him, and anytime one of your kids goes through something like that, it's if they're sick, like with a head cold or a flu, let alone it's their heart. So yeah, we're just taking it day by day, but he's in good spirits. I appreciate you asking about him.
No, man, I think I follow Ty.
Yeah.
I think one of them followed me back. It's either Ty. I forgot who followed me
Ty
back.
Ty or Jake.
I don't know. But I was like, all right. I got the Herbies following me back.
Yeah. They appreciate you know, in the world we live in today, there aren't a whole lot of people that are willing to just kind of say it like it is, and you guys have created a platform where you're able to do that. That's what Pat has created as well for himself. So kudos to you guys for figuring that out.
Nah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Some people think you might be the busiest human on planet Earth, man.
You're everywhere, man.
It's been a crazy fall.
I thought I was a hustler and a grinder, man. And I know everybody out there, man, that has a soft side or whatever they want to say. You're a dog guy like I am. Now you added the dog element to it. Your followers had to have gone through the roof, probably on the female side. I don't know. Your wife probably looking at your shit like, hey, man, what's going on here? Females love dogs now. Hey, I got to ask you, man, what started that whole thing?
I think everything going on with Zach this year, I've had dogs my whole life. My first dog that I really, really had was a golden retriever. When I was in 9th or 10th grade, and that dog I had till I was like 30. So I just became a big golden retriever pet owner, just because, everybody gets into a certain breed or a certain kind of dog. And for me, having kids and things like that, they just kind of became family members. And so I've had them for, over 30 or 40 years now. And I've always done more than one. I see you have a couple yourself. I just think it's cool when they have a companion, and so I think it helps them out and it keeps them, their spirit up. And so, yeah, I've always been a dog person. This year, I just decided to take Ben out with me, not for the intention of social media or anything like that, but just kind of having my guy with me. And I did it the first time out to Seattle for Oregon, Washington. And these NFL stadiums on Thursday nights, it's funny, I took him on a Thursday night with me because I do the whole week. I leave on Wednesday, I leave today, and then I'm gone till Sunday. So I took him to Thursday, and I brought him into our meeting, a big production meeting in this hotel. And Al Michaels was kind of not a bit, I could tell right away, he wasn't a big dog guy. And so Ben just kind of walks around And when he got over to Al to say hi, Al was just kind of like, so I kind of sensed that, but Al didn't say anything. So I went over and I got him, brought Ben back over. And then after that, the next week, I was like, where's Ben? And I was like, I just thought you didn't want him in the meeting. And he goes, oh, you kidding me? You need to go get him. So I went back up to the room, brought him down. And so from that point on, Al was more intrigued by Ben than anybody. And you know how dogs are, right? Like their personality, they just kind of get around people and kind of do it in their own way. So Al's come full circle on hanging out with him. And so, yeah, I did it that first time. And I just realized how much he impacts everybody that he came in contact with, and just started bringing him every single week from that point on. He's been out on the road with me now, I don't know, like maybe six weeks or so. This is, by the way, if I'm not on the road, this is what he does right here.
I love it.
Mine are at my feet right now snoring, man. That's what they do. It's unbelievable. My good friend Pat Perez, live golfer. We were at Craig's here in LA one night, and Al walked in, man, and we were chopping it up, hanging out with Al last summer, I want to say, or something. So right before the season started, I think last year. So great dude, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I know it's probably been a hell of a experience going from the college world to Al and that NFL legacy. Call him the Miracle and all those different legendary stuff. Has that been like a crazy surreal moment?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I was maybe 10 or 11 years old when I sat on my couch like everybody that was alive at that point and watched the United States, and the Soviet Union, and all the way throughout his career. I'm a sports junkie like you guys. And so I've watched all his stuff, the Olympics, boxing, obviously NFL, MLB, everything he's done. And I mean, my career, I started with Mike Tirico when Mike was really young. And then I went to Brent Musburger, who was, a guy that, again, our generation, we watched him too. And that was my next play-by-play guy. Then I went to Chris Fowler, who, I obviously had a relationship with doing game day. And then I worked with Al Michaels. Those are the only 4 guys that I've ever worked with doing games. And
wow.
just surreal, man. My whole, I'm just a guy. I don't even know how I'm sitting here, really. I'm just a guy that just loves what I do and work hard. And, the one thing about my career, JB, is like, if you look at me, all these guys that do what I do, they all won the Super Bowl. They're all MVPs. They're all Heisman winners. They're all coaches. They're all very well known for what they accomplished, and man, I wasn't that guy, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that I just kind of basically worked my way up and just did it not by who I was, but I didn't really have a shtick. The way I'm talking to you guys right now is how I talk on the air. I don't really know any different. I just prepared. There wasn't back in the 90s, mid 90s, there wasn't really a talent coach. So I just prepared and talked, and I've done that now for about 28 years. And, but yeah, it's a little, initially when you don't have necessarily the credentials, like I didn't win a Super Bowl. I didn't go to the NFL, you got a portion of the audience. Who is this guy? But, I just believed based on, I really watched the game, and I've really done it my entire life in a way that I pay attention to little things. Like I hit up Sean McVay. I did the Rams last week, and I hit him up after the game, and I was like, hey man, I just want to tell you, as an outsider that just watches every game and is really into the game itself, I said, I'm seeing little things like Ernest Jones, who's your middle linebacker. I said, when the offense came off the field and they had a big drive, I said 53 is the first one off the sidelines, dapping up your offense. I was like, you don't see things like that. I was like, when you see a connection with a middle linebacker who's in his 3rd year from South Carolina, coming off the field, dapping up the O lineman and Stafford, I was like, man, you got some special chemistry. And being a coach, that either happens or it doesn't. You can't tell guys do that. That's just gonna eventually naturally happen. And the Rams got something going right now. I don't know what's gonna happen to them in the postseason, but just watching them, they got some intangibles. And I just
I'm calling it, Kirk. I've been saying the Rams are the scariest team in football.
They are. I would not want to play them. And now that they're healthy, they got all their pieces on the field together. And
my lifelong friend, the receiver coach there, Eric Yarber.
I met him last week. What a great
So,
Great
we
guy.
go way back, man. So we, from college days, sending him players. He's been, we go way back, and so I talk to him quite a bit. Plus, Eric Weddle's on my show every Monday.
Okay.
So, E-Dub Mondays, and he talks to McVay all the time. And, they inducted him, I think, a few weeks ago, both the Chargers and the Rams. Plus he was a Raven. So, E-Dub, he was at the house the other day playing poker with us. So he said to give you a shout out too, man.
Yeah, I covered him in college when he was at Utah.
Utah, yeah. Yeah, I had players that I'm feeling old too, man. And you got me a little bit, but I was like, damn, E-Dub, my players were playing with you at Utah. Shit. Hey, Kirk, I know I don't got you long. I appreciate you jumping on. So when I went on Pat's show, I want to tell you a funny story real quick before me and Smitty dive into some questions and get you out of here. I went on, so the show that last chance you came out and all this shit. Yeah. You know how social media is, man. They run the narratives, and they're killing you right now because of the whole
Florida State.
They kill me every day. Pat gets killed. We all get killed. And I'm like, so people sending me text, oh, Kirk don't like you. He thinks you're crazy. And I was like, man, who said this? I like Kirk. And this was years ago. And then I go on that show, right? And then Pat's like, he goes, what's your latest story? I go, man, I had a dream, Pat, that I was the head coach at Akron. And this is like the first story I tell Pat on his show one day. Right? Yeah. And I had a ring. I said, Kirk Herbstreit comes out to interview me. And I said, no, Kirk, hold on. You talk shit about me on Twitter. Pat, I want you to interview me. And they started laughing and shit. I was like, I never saw the tweet. Nobody showed me the tweet or could show me the tweet, but they just talk. And that's what social media is, man. It's like, so I have a renewed, just been watching you, man. I just want you to know, man, I have a huge admiration for what you're doing. And I just wanted to appreciate you, man, for doing that. And I know a lot of people judge us book by a cover, man. And I'm like,
that's so true.
You don't realize who we really are.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the era, I guess, that we live in, right? I mean, I having these 4 kids that I have and the ages, think about the ages that they're at. And I talked to one of them last night about they're 23, 21, and 17. And I said, man, wait till you guys have kids. I mean, think about this world that we live in. And a lot of people think about when you go out to a dinner and you look around at the tables around you, everybody's down on their phone. No one's really talking to each other. No one's hanging out. No one's just chilling, And so, you're right. I think it is so important to kind of peel back and try to get to know people, which I think we used to always do. But I think I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of just kind of getting caught up in the world that we live in. And I think it's good. Like for you and I to interact, I think that's a really good thing because you're right. Like if I'm to watch a edited version of, that's not even your real life, right? I mean, it's an edited version for entertainment.
They don't have Nick Saban walking in saying, hey man, this is the most structured ass environment I've ever seen and blah, blah, blah. They better have them yelling at kids.
No, they want crazy. And that's what sells.
Crazy sales,
Hey, Kirk, I got 10 first rounders. I got 28 guys in the league. I've never seen one of them talk about me bad on Twitter.
I haven't seen that either.
So they want to look at all the dumb crap, and I'm like, hey, look. So I just ran with it. Kirk, before you get out of here, I completely agree with the Florida State take. We all do with that no football. So I'm with you. But I got a question. If Oregon would have beat Washington that night, I have a gut feeling, and I don't know what your thought is, and I haven't heard anyone say it. I don't think Oregon gets in either. I don't think a Pac-12 gets in. I think Georgia jumps Florida State and gets in. I think there's 2 SEC teams in there. Is that too far-fetched? With Florida State, I just don't know if Florida State is a top 6 team even with Jordan Travis. I don't know.
Yeah. I that would have been crazy. I think there was so much hype about the Pac-12 in its last year. And, every week we were talking about the depth and the conference. Now, if you really looked at Oregon and really studied who they played, they didn't have a ton of big time opponents. But I think the fact that Washington was the one loss in a game that they really outplayed Washington in Seattle, they just didn't get it done that day. If you look at the stats, they definitely put up some numbers on them. I think if they would have won, it would have been a really tough thing. For the committee, I do think Oregon would have got. I felt like when we were watching that game, the winner of that game on a Friday night is probably in, regardless, even with the one loss for Oregon. Florida State, just to be kind of clear on, like, if they want to change how we all watch the game and evaluate, what I'm always asked to do in August is, okay, watch every game, and give us the opinion at the end who the best four are, not the most deserving. And I think what gets lost, I think, for Florida State fans, and I understand it, they did everything that was asked of them. They're undefeated. And so if you're undefeated and you're a Power 5, you should be in. And that's not automatic. You know, it's the best four. And if they want to change that to the most deserving four, then let's change it to the most deserving. But right now it's the best four teams. And I think that's where it's subjective. You guys might think Florida State is, which is cool. I might not, which is fine. But everybody can have an opinion about what we think who the best four are. But don't get lost in the fact that if you're undefeated, you should automatically be in. That's just not the case at all.
I agree.
That's the great point as well. I know on this show we've discussed, you know, we've had arguments where, okay, if Bama gets in, Texas had to get in because they played each other and Texas beat them. I know JB's like, well, things changed, you know, at the beginning of the season is when Texas and Alabama played compared to where they're at now. Yeah. And like you said, though, like it's the four best teams, it's not the four most deserving. It's not your four favorite teams. So I agree with you. I just think that at the end of the day, the committee got it right, in my opinion. I think we will see the best product now with these four teams. And it's hard for me to believe that Florida State gets in, especially without their QB, that they would be true contenders. And we don't want to see that.
And what sucks about all this is, like, we should be celebrating. This is the world, again, in this subjective 4-team playoff. Like, we should be lifting Florida State up. Like, this is one of their best seasons that they've had, right? And they're undefeated. But I don't know how this whole thing, like, I've been a Florida State guy. I grew up in the era that I grew up with Deion Sanders. I mean, how could you not be drawn to Florida State and their brand? And Bobby Bowden was the most lovable big-time coach there was. Like, I've always been a Florida State guy. And even just the unis, just their whole look has just been, just my team. And for people to kind of insinuate that I'm, like, out to get Florida State is the most ridiculous thing. I guess if you would have said,
I know Mike Norvell forever. Good dude. Jermaine Johnson, one of my kids, you know. Football teacher, plays for the Jets. Who there. I mean, he's done a hell of a job, especially after the Taggart debacle and everything. And
oh my gosh! I'll tell you what, and you can really relate to this. When I did Jimbo, when they were winning with Jameis, and they won it all, and I think 13 was the national championship. They beat Auburn out in LA at the Rose Bowl. They came back in 14 and still had Jameis. That was the first year of the playoff. They made it, and they got beat by Marcus. Jalen Ramsey was on that team, they got beat in the playoff. And really, if you remember, Lamar Jackson got him the next year, ran for about 200 yards, went crazy on him. And it was like Florida State was just starting to kind of drop from that point on. At the end of the Jimbo era, before Willie, they just kind of lost their way. They became super individuals. They became all about the league, all about getting to that next level. And I think it took them maybe 5 or 6 years of, even when Mike first got there, they had that cancer within that program. And it took him, if you remember those first couple of years, it's right around COVID. People wanted him to be fired. I mean, they wanted Deion Sanders. They wanted anybody. Their own fans that are killing me right now, they were killing Mike Norvell. They thought he was a bum, that he couldn't coach. And so it is kind of what it is. But that is a rabid fan base that has to really appreciate where they just were just a couple years ago to where they are right now. And Mike Norvell deserves all the credit for what he's been able to pick up, because they were lost as a brand for about 5 or 6 years.
No doubt. Man, before you came on, I was talking to our friend Sean Salisbury. I think we were on his show last week before Christmas, back to back. And I was like, man, we get him on the show, man. Sean, Sean and I do a show together. We break down NFL a little more.
I know. I see that. I see you guys do that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sean's a good dude, man. We hang out in Scottsdale when he comes around and stuff. So, California guy. But, hey, before you get out of here, I know you got another thing. I appreciate you coming on here, man. We do a little segment, and I would love it one day. I got to get you back on. We got more time. I want to talk about it on transfer portal and all that stuff. But I got to ask you, you covering this college football thing. We do a little segment. We call it Hell Yeah or Hell No. And I was like, I think it'd be fun to do it with Kirk before we get out of here. Lamar Jackson, hell yeah or hell no? Lamar Jackson is the only real MVP candidate.
Hold on, before you answer, Kirk, you see how JB tried to throw in the word only to try to, like, I know what you're doing, JB, but go ahead and answer.
Look, I'm on the watered down side. I think this is the worst I've ever seen football quarterback play ever, college or NFL.
I tell you what, and again, because you're a coach, you know this. Like, I think doing all these NFL games, I'm like right now, here's my board. I'm getting ready to do the Jets and the Browns, and that's what I do during the week. And I'll see your guy, by the way, Jermaine Johnson. I will. I will. But it's the offensive line. It's these offensive lines. It's easy to look at these quarterbacks, and it's been bad this year. But I think it's a combination of the offensive linemen. If you're healthy in August, you got 5 if you're lucky. And then, as you know, you're going to get an ankle, you're going to get a hip, you're going to get a shoulder. Next thing you know, you got the left guard moved out to right tackle. You got a rookie free agent that's a backup swing guy that shouldn't be playing right now. He goes in. Now you get the left tackle. He's hurt. Now you got to go to the street and pick up. Every week, that's how it is for these teams. Not the great teams, but everybody else. Like, I'm talking like 20 to 25 teams that are just scratching to find linemen. So you combine that with quarterbacks that probably aren't ready to play and shouldn't be out there, with bad offensive lines. And I think that's why we've seen historically, this is as bad of offensive play, I think, in the NFL that we've seen.
Kirk, I kind of go back to college, though. Like, think about it. You're in the mercenary business now. There's 35 kids a semester transferring to a new institution. Injuries at all-time high for one reason, and my philosophy is you got Nick Saban tackling philosophy over here. Let's run our feet, cut the air out, get our right field upfield shoulder. Then you go to Memphis, and this kid from Alabama transferred over here, and the weight room philosophy is different. The culture is different. The tackling philosophy is different. Now we got hamstring injury. We got neck. All these things. And then you got O-line that you're discussing. Kirk, you know this. We played quarterback. Pin your ears back and go get the ball. See ball, hit ball. Offensive line, I got to learn the slide, who the mic ID is. I got to four slide this. How do you do that with new O-linemen every single semester? So I think O-line is taking a critical hit because D-line is just go get the cue. And I think Chris Jones and Aaron Donald, Kurt, with a backup every play. Come on.
I know. And I was going to say the defensive line play keeps getting up better and better.
Yeah.
Guys like Jermaine Johnson and offensive linemen, not only are they transferring and not lifting weights and not hitting in the off season, but they're just the style of offenses. You know, it's not. You called plays. I mean, it's not downhill, getting physical, pounding people. It's more mirroring people. It's finesse. It's very few teams in high school and college. You can go down to high school. I mean, look, the quarterback's looking over. He sees 2 signs. One's Daffy Duck. One's, whoever. And they're not calling them. They're not huddling. They're not playing physical. So I'm not saying the way the game used to be. I'm just saying the result is the NFL is, like you say, has to go out and find linemen. And this is the pool of linemen that they're choosing from. There might be 3, 4, 5 linemen a year that you're like, okay, he played at Wisconsin, he played at Notre Dame, he played at Alabama. Like the teams you just know every year, they're creating pretty good linemen. But all in all, when you're trying to put together an NFL roster, you might, like I say, have 5, and you're just hoping. Like Dallas, for the most part, staying healthy. Philly, for the most part, staying healthy. You know, the good teams, their linemen are staying healthy, and it gives you a chance to compete. So I'm with you on the quarterback play. Like, how about this game I'm doing this week? I got Trevor Siemian, who's, kind of a journeyman quarterback. This when we looked at this in August, this was Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, right.
I mean, think about that. And we got Trevor Siemian and Joe Flacco. Thank God Flacco showed up. Because if Flacco didn't show up, it's PJ Walker or DTR that, for out of UCLA as a rookie. So Flacco, he's given the Browns a real lift in the last 3 weeks. He's 38 years old.
I love Lamar. I love his athleticism. I've had Patrick Queen on here 3 times, kid I recruited, who comes on, who's locking that defense down. I just think quarterback play this year, because of the injuries of Aaron Rodgers and the big-time guys, Deshaun, has been so mediocre, and I think mediocrity is the new excellence in life anyway. But I think we look at it like oh, these quarterbacks are this, so Lamar is automatically by default the MVP. And I'm like, he's half the stats he had as the MVP when he was the MVP.
Who do you think? Who are your top 5 in that discussion?
I think any year, Kirk, that there shouldn't be a quarterback that wins it. It's this year because give the running back a bone. We're already not paying him. And we already know what the situation is. CMC by far is the driving force in Frisco. I don't think it's Purdy. I do agree fully because I've been on the show and I've said it. I think there are game managers and I think there's game changers like Cam said.
Yeah,
but
well, you go after Kansas City, don't you? That's your thing, right?
It's like, hey, Kirk, they cut me years ago, and I'm like, hey, I like having fun with them.
Yeah.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, they hate him, Kirk.
Oh my God.
Hey, Kirk, I do it on purpose now. Like, screw you, Queendom fan bases. But
you get
I got great friends there, Kirk. I love Kansas City. I got all kind of great friends. They all laugh. They laugh. They think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
I know you just winding them up.
Mahomes, Kirk, I think Mahomes is a benefit of Andy Reid in the system. But I mean, that's just what I think. But let me ask you something real quick. Hell yeah or hell no. Matthew Stafford is the best ball spinner in the NFL right now. With Aaron being out, with those situations. Just straight up spin the rock.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a Matthew Stafford guy, and that guy just gets younger as he goes on. Just again, I just had him. I think he's playing right now as well as he's played at any point in his career. I think he's having fun with that youth around him, with what these receivers are doing. Kyron Williams giving him some juice in that backfield. I would say hell yeah to that.
They're a scary bunch, man.
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah, hell no. Ryan Day has to beat Michigan next year to keep his job.
Why you put? It's a Ohio State guy right here, JB.
Yeah.
I'll skip it,
bro. You're killing me, man.
Don't answer it, Kirk. Don't answer it, Kirk.
That one. I had to have a joke. my last one is the funniest one. It's good though, Kirk. You don't got to be scared on this show. I got you. Alabama will win the Natty. Hell yeah, hell no.
I'll tell you, man. I picked them in the preseason. I didn't even know who their quarterback was. And you know why I picked them? Nick, because
probably got a call.
Yeah, somebody probably called him. It was getting good too.
He got to get out too soon. I know. He's probably staying longer just for us because he caught on late.
Yeah. If he probably has to go. If he hops back on, I can answer that last question.
Yeah.
Hey, that was fine. Hey, Kirk's amazing, man. He just, and one thing I wanted to tell him, but I have to tell him next time, man. Like, he was talking about how his story of how he got to where he's at. He wasn't a Hall of Famer. He didn't play in the NFL. He just kind of grinded, and I can relate to that. Being a young person who's trying to get to that type of Kirk Herbstreit level is just it's inspiring. You know what I'm saying, to hear a guy similar path, play college football. Oh, there you go. He's back right here.
Okay. So what I was going to say is I picked them preseason. I apologize. A phone call came in.
They're good.
But and it had everything to do with, if you remember, Georgia wins back-to-back, and everybody said there's a new sheriff in town. And I just know how Nick is, how competitive he is. And I'm like, I don't even care who's coming back for Alabama. Alabama's going to win it this year just because of what's happened the last 2 years. Now, as we get to this point, and I'm calling the Rose Bowl with Michigan and Alabama. I think it's easy to say that it's Bama because of Nick and because of their history. I would say this about Michigan. They go to the playoff 2 years ago and get absolutely embarrassed by Kirby in Georgia down at the Orange Bowl. They go to the game against TCU last year in a game everyone thinks they're going to win, and they don't get it done in a shootout. That's back-to-back times. And everybody this year has been caught up in Harbaugh being suspended early the first of the year, and then at the end of the year, 3 games early, 3 games late. This team is an autopilot. Because of what happened to them in those 2 games, and with J.J. McCarthy and some of the veterans that they got, Blake Corum, I just feel like this team's been – now, I don't know if they're going to win, but I just feel like the embarrassment of the last 2 years has driven this team through a lot of turmoil, and they cheat, and they this, and they that. I just feel like they've been locked in. So I don't know, man. That's going to be a hell of a game. And it's going to be like that 27-24, 27-20 kind of game.
They gotta run Milroe, I think, in the one like they did for Georgia. And I don't know if Michigan's corners are good enough if he gets beat if he uses his feet and finds the guy wide open because he comes down the hill and tries to stop the QB run game and he hits him over the top.
That's a great point. Great point. Who do you guys like in that Texas-Washington game?
Sark's one of my best friends in the world, man. So, we grew up together. It's tough. I got a tight end that plays for Washington. We've had him on the show. Quentin Moore, who caught the winning touchdown to beat Oregon. He's my kid, played for me at Indy.
I'm going Texas, JB. I feel like Washington, they find ways to win, and that's why they're undefeated. But I still feel like late in the season, it was a little shaky. It didn't look as clean as they looked earlier on in the season. Mm-hmm. I like the way that Texas looked in the championship game. So I'm going with Texas, but I'm expecting a good game though.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. Kirk, before you get out of here, we got one hell yeah and one hell no. It's gonna be a funny one. Hell yeah, hell no. You will call the Florida State game next year and walk away unscathed.
I would say hell no right now.
He said, hey, I'll call the game, but I might not walk away unscathed. I don't know.
Hey, man, I know you're busy, man. I can't thank you enough, man. We got to do it again. Hopefully we'll hook up one day, Radio Row or something.
Man. Yeah. Anytime. And whatever old tweet I may have sent out or whatever, man.
Oh, man.
That was – hey, it's all good, man. I'll be honest with you, man. Before you had this show, I didn't know you. Yeah. What I knew from you is what they edited on that show, and there were moments where I was kind of taken back, like, damn, and I'm sure you even were watching it, like, damn, So I've really enjoyed you having a platform to allow you and your crew and just to be able to speak your mind. And like I said, man, we live in this era where there are very few people that have an opportunity to do that, and it's allowed me to get a chance to know you as a person rather than just that edited version of that show. So yeah, man, anytime you need me to hop on, man, just let me know. I'd love to join you guys.
I appreciate you, brother, keeping it real and doing what you do, man. Biggest hustler out there, man. And
thanks, man.
Shout out to you. Hey, one of my former kids, Nico's going to start for Tennessee in their bowl game, man. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
His daddy was my tight end in JUCO.
Wow. I didn't know he's starting in that bowl game. I want to see him. Nice.
Yeah. So, hey, they're paying him.
I saw that.
And then Kirk, real quick, I
appreciate you. Safe travels and enjoy the rest of the new year and the holiday game. I'll watch you tomorrow, man. And shout out to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Did you want to ask me something?
Hey, just want to shout you out, man. I'm a Midwest guy too, Indianapolis, Indiana. So just hearing your story early on, how you say you didn't play in the NFL, you didn't, have a chance to Hall of Fame. I played at Ball State. I'm a MAC guy, grinding my way up. So just let you know, you are an inspiration to a lot of us, man. Keep doing your thing, man. It was a pleasure getting a chance to meet you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thanks very much.
You guys have a good one. Everybody love, man. T's and P's, all you guys and your dogs. And hopefully we'll hook up soon, man. And,
you got it, man.
Have a little
anytime.
All right, brother.
All right. Take care, man.